Okay, so let's talk about Mexico's luxury real estate market. It is booming, and it's pulling in investors from all over the world. But what's really driving this gold rush? Today, we're going to break down the numbers, the opportunities, and yeah, the risks you absolutely need to know about.
So, where are we getting all this info? Well, we're diving deep into the Mexican Luxury Real Estate Investment Guide for 2026. Think of it as a professional playbook for the really serious investors, and we've pulled out the most critical takeaways just for you.
So, if you're one of those people always on the hunt for the next big thing in global property, the big question is, could this be it? Let me throw some numbers at you that might just blow your mind.
First up, let's talk about the potential return. We are talking a potential total annual ROI of 21 to 31% in a hot market like Tulum. Now that's combining rental income and the property's value going up. A number like that, it's not just good, it's a total game changer.
So what's the engine behind all this? An absolutely explosive tourism story. Look, visitor numbers haven't just bounced back from the pandemic. They've skyrocketed to 122% of 2019 levels. All those tourists need a place to stay, right? Which creates a massive appetite for rental properties. And it's not just tourists. In 2025 alone, $36 billion in foreign direct investment just flooded into the country. That is a huge signal that the smart money is betting big on Mexico's future.
So when you see returns like that, and that kind of cash pouring in, yeah, you can see why the guide calls this Mexico's real estate gold rush. It's a moment of really intense opportunity and incredibly rapid change.
Which brings us right to the core question. What are the fundamental forces that are turning Mexico into this powerful magnet for global investment? Because let me tell you, it's about a lot more than just sun and sand. All right, let's get right into it. This next section asks, why Mexico? And, maybe even more importantly, why is this all happening right now? We're about to break down the key drivers that make this moment so incredibly unique.
One of the biggest factors comes down to a single word, nearshoring. And honestly, this isn't just a trend, it's a massive economic earthquake. You've got global companies shifting their manufacturing from Asia to Mexico so they can be right next door to their biggest customers in the US and Canada. This is creating a huge wave of new jobs, new wealth, and massive demand for housing.
And this slide just illustrates the perfect storm of factors. You've got that record foreign investment, the tourism boom we just talked about, a currency exchange that is really favorable for buyers from the US and Canada, and you have massive government spending on game-changing infrastructure like new airports and the Maya train. It is a seriously powerful combination.
So if the why is becoming clear, the next logical question for any investor is, where? And this is not a one-size-fits-all market. The choice really comes down to your strategy. Are you chasing that high-octane growth on the beach, or are you looking for stability in a major city, or maybe the charm of a colonial jewel?
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide just crystallizes the core decision. On one side, you've got the Tulum phenomenon. Its growth is explosive, driven by this global reputation for bohemian chic luxury. But that crazy growth comes with real risks. The infrastructure is struggling to keep up, and the land titles can be tricky. Then, on the other side, you have Puerto Vallarta, a mature, stable market with lower but still incredible returns and the highest year-round occupancy in Mexico. It's the classic trade-off, right? Aggressive growth versus predictable stability.
And you know what? This quote from an investor in the guide just hits the nail on the head. They call Puerto Vallarta boring compared to all the hype around Tulum, but for them, boring means reliable. It means they can sleep at night. The steady rental income is the real prize. The property value going up is just a fantastic bonus. It's a completely different investment philosophy.
Okay, so let's say you've picked a location, but how does a foreigner actually buy property, especially in those prime coastal areas? Well, that brings us to our next section, where we unlock the legal side of this whole process.
The key term you absolutely need to know is Fideicomiso. Now, I know, it sounds complicated, but it's basically just a bank trust. See, foreigners can't directly own land in certain coastal zones, so a Mexican bank holds the legal title for you. But, and this is the most important part, you, the buyer, get all the rights of an owner. You can use it, you can sell it, rent it out, you can even pass it down to your kids. It's a secure, totally established system.
And get this, owning property can literally be your ticket to living in Mexico. The path to residency is surprisingly clear. An investment of around $200,000 in real estate can qualify you for temporary residency. You hold that status for 4 years, and then you can convert it to permanent residency. For a lot of people, it's a remarkably straightforward process.
So, for our final section, we're going to balance the incredible potential with the real-world risks. It's time to talk about the treasure, the traps, and the most important takeaways from all of this. First up, the treasure. Just look at this chart. It shows the sheer potential across different types of markets. You've got the high-risk, high-reward profile of Tulum at the very top. But check out Querétaro. It's an emerging inland tech hub, and it's posting returns that are almost as high. And then you have the solid, stable returns of a mature market like Puerto Vallarta. The key takeaway here? There are different flavors of opportunity.
But, and this is a big but, as the guide makes crystal clear, every treasure map comes with warnings. Anyone who tells you otherwise is probably trying to sell you something. It is absolutely essential to go into this with your eyes wide open.
And these are the key risks you need to navigate. On the coasts, hurricane exposure is a very real factor. In developing hotspots like Tulum, you have to do extra due diligence on these complex land titles known as Ejido land. They're basically historical communal properties with unique legal rules that can really complicate a sale. In other regions, water scarcity is a growing concern, and pretty much across the country, investors need to keep an eye on evolving rental regulations and potential delays on those big infrastructure projects.
Which leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? Is Mexico's property boom a sustainable blueprint for the future, powered by real economic shifts like nearshoring? Or is it a paradise teetering on the edge of a speculative bubble? You know, the data suggests the fundamentals are strong, but just like any gold rush, the ultimate outcome is always going to depend on smart strategy, deep diligence, and very carefully navigating the risk.